Peace. Tata Nazako here. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Hey, this is a real important thing that I need to stress to clients out there. Sometimes you get to a point in a spiritual work. Sometimes you put a work out there in the spirit, and it may be taking some time to work itself out. I mean, I've literally put works together for myself, let them sit, don't think nothing about it, and I've watched the work manifest 3 months later. Like literally, I ain't even think about the work. Put it in the Inganga, put it in the prenda, and walked away after doing what I needed to do. It stayed in there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do got something in there. You know what I mean? 3 months later, you know, it's manifesting. And I've had clients in the past who would have work going that may take that type of time left to manifest. So what they do is they eventually give up on the work. Okay? Now this is particular to people who are working with a palero or anybody that's working with the dead. Okay? I've had clients who I have done work for, they've gotten results, and then they may have had to wait for work to manifest. They may have gotten patient, given up on the work. Then may have went to the internet and said something bad about me because they gave up because they didn't want to be patient. It wasn't like I dissed them or I stopped talking to them or anything like that. Or I blocked them or nothing. They just gave up. They just felt like, oh, it didn't work. I'm like, it is working. I'm telling them it's working. But when you're talking to people who have small spiritual antennas, they can't really grasp what you mean when you say it. They can't see it working because they're too engrossed into the physical. They can't really see and even feel when something is going on. Oh, he's all the way over here or she's all the way over there. And I know it's been done and I know that it's going to work. Then they give up. They give up on the situation. And then what happens? If they don't start doing negative shit like slandering me and talking shit, the spirit will keep working for them. And then months later, they'll be like, oh. And then the spirit will tell me, what's up with so-and-so? This person will come into my head, literally, out the blue. Somebody I may have not worked with in 4 or 5 months, you know, or maybe even a year sometimes. They'll pop up in my head. I'll hit them up like, yo, is everything cool with you? You know what I'm saying? You've been on my mind. And then they'll tell me in the conversation, oh yeah, the work you did for me was excellent. You know, we did this. Everything happened the way it happened. Blah, 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 this and that. And I'm like, well, why you ain't tell me? Because this was a person who at some point in the work had given up. So they stopped communicating with me. Because as long as you communicating with me, I know you ain't gave up. But when you stop communicating with me, then I'm going to assume either you gave up or you got what you wanted. So this is a person who, this type of person will be the type of person who gave up on the work, but they didn't go running their mouth in a negative way. They may have just said, oh, I guess it wasn't meant to be. And then they went about their life. So the spirit kept working for them. Like, it is working. You just need to get your mind off of it. And in a way, this is kind of good because sometimes when clients do this, they get their mind off the work. They give up on it. They forget. Oh, yeah. Then they come back around like, oh, man, his work manifested. Yeah, because you just had to let. The way that I work in a way where things naturally come about in your life. The forced situations usually come with the negative effects. I'm speaking from experience. You force something that the spirit is not willing to accept to do, and you're going to get negative effects. You're going to get those negative effects. So I work for my clients in a way where things naturally manifest. The spirit helps to align every cause and effect so that the person gets what they want naturally. Therefore, there isn't any negative effects. Everything is in alignment with nature. Everything is in alignment with divine law. People may say, well, man, I want revenge. How do you do revenge work if you do stuff like that? Revenge work is basically by telling the spirit to cause everything that this person has caused to happen to this person to happen to them. You see what I mean? So it's still, you're still working within cause and effect. You're just being the hand of cause and effect at that particular moment. You're giving that person the energy that they threw out. You're giving it back to them directly, opposed to waiting for it to manifest over time. You're giving it to them now. No, everything you threw me, I'm giving it back to you. Everything you tried to do to me, I'm finna make happen to you. You're giving it to them now. At that point, you're not telling the spirit, oh, I want them to die in a car crash, or I want them to die of sickness, or I want this to happen. You're not putting your ego in it. So therefore, the spiritual consequences behind those actions are not coming back on you. So even when I do revenge work for a client, it's not in a way that a lot of people will probably agree, because you're not directly destroying a person. You're leaving it up to the spirit as to how this person's life should turn from blessings to misfortune based on the energy that they directed at your client, whether physically, mentally, or spiritually. You're just sending it back. You're just changing the polarity. The polarity. It was coming this way, now you're just turning it around and sending it back that way, back at the person. You're not asking for anything special to happen to that person. You know what I'm saying? So everything is always worked within divine law, within universal law. So the way that the love work and things like that manifest is so that things can happen naturally. Because when you have one of those situations where you want to control, dominate, or some shit like that, sometimes we put things like that into the Nganga and it just sits in there indefinitely. You know what I mean? It sits in there indefinitely. So you got to consider, you know, all of that. You got to consider all of that. I like to write down the topics that I talk about so I can stay on topic. So you don't want to give up. You definitely don't want to give up on the spiritual work without consulting with the spiritual worker. You know what I mean? Even if you're not giving up, even if you look, I'm just finna fall back, I'm finna chill. You know what I mean? If it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. I'm finna go on about my life. Let them know something. You know what I'm saying? Let them know something. Communicate. Let them know something. It don't have to be, because I had a lot of situations like that where people, I've done work for people and then I ain't never heard from them again. Like seriously. I don't know. They could have easily contacted. I got the same number for years. So they could have easily contacted me. But they disappeared. I don't know, you know, what happened. One person I did a money work for, and he paid me to do the money work, and then I never heard from him again. And then he called me one time and was like, yo man, whatever you did, it worked, man. Our business is doing this, is blowing up. I was like, okay. And he got off the phone with me. You know what I mean? So I just be wanting to know, like, you know, what's going on, because you don't want to be in a situation where you either owe the spirit, you know what I'm saying, or you speak negatively about your spiritual worker, and now the spirits that he was using to work for you now work against you. They're not going to help you if you're talking about they do. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I'll be like, just communicate. Just communicate with your spiritual worker. It's just that simple. But I ain't gonna go on and on about this. I think you all get the point. You know what I mean? Like I said, check out the links in the description of the video. Definitely like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you guys for watching. See y'all on the next video. Peace. Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam.